morning, everybody. It is time for tea. How are you doing? Good morning. Hi, everybody. Welcome to tea time. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello, 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 and good morning. All right, so we are actively moving through our new year. I sent out my first newsletter for the year yesterday, and I realized, oh my gosh, we're literally I think we're entering almost the fourth week, I think it is, of January, whichever way. We're moving things along. Things are moving along. And for some of us, it may be business as usual. You may just be feeling like another day, any other day. And then for others of us, we have these big dreams and passions and goals that we have put down that we are steadily trying to get to, or we are fumbling around trying to figure out how we're going to get to it. Either way, if you're like me, you're on that train of really bringing to mind your intention. And even though you're going through the day to day, you are still hopeful for what is to come. So I thought today we would talk about something that is, I wouldn't say overlooked, but it is so crucial for how we are going about just creating the lives that we want, right? And this is something that, whether it's the new year or it's the middle of the year or it's close to the end of the year, it's always a good opportunity to look at who you are becoming, who you're being, and how you're being accountable to your dream, how you're being accountable to yourself. I was going through the week this week, and I was recognizing how much time I had been spending on one particular client's work. And I was like, okay, so I need to make sure that I'm prioritizing the things that I have promised myself I'm going to prioritize. I have to make sure that I'm being accountable. I have to be looking at life through the lens of where I'm going and bringing that up every single time. Because what starts to happen right about now, when you reach in the 20s, in the month of January, for those of us that have put down on paper that we want to achieve these amazing goals, what starts to happen right now is you start to feel the pull of regular life, business as usual, everything else except for the things that you are trying to achieve. And so that's when being courageous and really leaning into your dream and holding yourself accountable, that's when it gets really, really important. So this morning I thought, all right, so what are we going to do if we want to talk about creating greater accountability so that you can get to what you want? Well, there's two sides to it, right? There is accountability to yourself, and then there's accountability to other people who are supporting the journey, not accountability to everybody else's dreams for themselves and what everybody else wants. No, accountability to yourself and accountability to people who are going to support you with creating the thing that you say you want to create. It could be that this is a business venture, it could be a love life, it could be individual, personal, like self-expression, whatever your big thing is that you're after in this moment. We're going to talk about the type of accountability you may need or be missing as you're moving towards that. I'm going to make sure that I, of course, tell you the story about my big aha this week, because every week I think I have an aha, which is why I have tea time in the first place, so I can give you all the tea. But I'll tell you about that because it talked to me about self-accountability, which is a huge area for me as somebody that tends to seem like I'm a disciplined person, but have a whole heap of indiscipline in my system. Oh my gosh, like I'm ready to confess, guys. And I'm also going to talk to you about the different methods of accountability that have worked for not just me, but for people that have been a part of my community and how you can pick them up. All of this that we're going to discuss today is going to take courage. And so I thought that it would be nice for us to share an intention around courage today. Like, I have a few cards in here that talk about stepping positively towards your purpose and being well intentioned. But for this conversation, it's going to require some bravado, it's going to require some courage. And so the card that I wanted to introduce to you guys today, if you've never seen it, is I Embody Boldness. It's one of my favorite cards. I just love the image that my artist worked on for this card, because it just shows that on the inside of us, we really have these courageous beings, but a lot of times we don't tend to show up for ourselves, right? So this is the intention. The intention is I embody boldness. And then the affirmation says I take purpose-filled action. Purpose-filled action. You know, I just act all willy-nilly. I take purpose-filled action towards the things that are in my best interest and the best interest of others, even when it may not be easy to do so. And that's the part that requires the courage, because for some of us, as we're going through the everyday of life, it actually takes courage to decide that you're going to do something that is not in the norm. Your brain is literally telling you the norm is safe. Staying in this lane is safe. Sometimes it can just be one simple decision and you're afraid to make that decision. You're afraid to have that conversation. And so you don't have to be thinking about this grandiose thing. It can be the smallest iteration of trying to change your life, the smallest iteration of moving towards what you want. And that's when you become accountable to yourself first. And that self accountability, I think it actually takes more courage to be accountable to yourself than it does to be accountable to others. How do I know that? Because I'm an obliger. And let me tell you, it's one of the reasons why I stayed in corporate so long. And even as I moved into being a full-time entrepreneur, I have corporate clients, because I know that if somebody is looking at me and saying, Stacey, show up for me, I will get up out of my bed and I will do everything that I need to do to show up for that person, oftentimes before showing up for myself. That's what happened with my kids. That's what happened with my ex-husband. Like, that's what happened with some friends that I don't have anymore. Like, I was so busy on this accountability wheel, but the accountability wasn't for my stuff. The accountability was for other people's stuff. And that happens so often. So this card is no joke. It starts off by saying that you're operating and being courageous in the best interest of yourself, myself first. So when you think about self accountability and how it's gonna impact what you're doing this year, you want to think about the things that could kind of become pitfalls, because a lot of times we are not aware of why we're not accountable to ourselves, or when we're not being accountable to ourselves. So I wanted to share with you some of the things that would be considered pitfalls for when you are not being accountable, right? The first one that I observe, and that I was actually working on something last night and was reading about it in a coach's report. It's arguing for your limitations. Have you ever heard that phrase? Have you heard that phrase? Arguing for your limitations. I don't know if you've heard that one before. Well, what it means when it talks about arguing for your limitations is you are actually defending all the things that make it possible for you to fail, right? So when you are in this space of not being accountable, what ends up happening is you get on the roller coaster ride that has all the things that could possibly go wrong. You will hear it in your mind, kind of talking about, okay, I don't think I should do this because I don't have enough money, or I tried it the last time and it never worked. I really need help and I don't know how to get the help. I'd be better off staying over here because this makes sense to me right now. When we look at this thing, right, we don't pay attention to how we argue for our limitations. And it really is a huge elephant in the room of our life. There are consequences to not being accountable for the negative self-talk that goes on in your mind. It's like you're providing yourself with the justification. You're literally giving yourself the justification for why you can't achieve something. That is arguing for your limitations. And remember, when you choose not to face a challenge, you're still making a choice. Okay, so if it is, you decide that you're going down the path of physical wellness and fitness, which is one of my areas that I seem to bring it back every year. And I'm not bringing it back and saying, oh, I'm going to the gym, or no, I'm bringing back the desire to have a snatched up body that you can bounce a quarter off. All right, that's me. I've talked about it. We're doing it this year. And it is the easiest area of indiscipline for me. It is the easiest area of indiscipline for me because I don't like to go to the gym and do the heavy weightlifting, and I don't want to struggle and to strain. I don't want my body to feel stressed out and pain up. I don't want to do that, right? And so what ends up happening is you will see me in my head justifying all the different reasons why it's not going to happen. Stacy, you've always had yoga in your life. And so, maybe just doing the yoga alone will, the flexibility side of yoga, maybe that alone will help you. They say that yoga can make you fit and keep you, going strong. And I'm finding myself justifying all the different reasons why I have not been able to achieve this amazing experience of my body that I want. And the truth of the matter is, I know what it is. I want to be stronger. It don't have anything to do with weight. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't mind putting a little extra pounds around there. You understand? I wouldn't mind that. So it doesn't have anything to do with weight. And I think because there is such a heavy focus in the wellness world on, weight loss and fitting into this small dress, I think I spent, because that's not my thing, I think I use that also as justification. Well, you have good DNA. Your body's slim and nice. Like I just find myself doing all those things and ultimately ending up arguing for my limitations. And in that moment where I am not choosing the goal or the dream that I want, in that moment that I'm not choosing my JLo body of the future, I am still making a choice. Every single time you make a decision or you don't make a decision, you are shaping your path. So just because you say, I am not going to do this because it's hard, it doesn't mean that you're not doing something else. You are. You are in inaction, which is going to ultimately take you down a path that you may or may not want, but you're going down the path because you have made a choice not to do something. It automatically puts you in a category of another choice. So there's different ways that we argue for our limitations. Hi, Shawnee, morning. And what you have to do is you have to see the elephant in the room of your mind. Where is it that you have set a goal or set a dream over and over and over again, and somehow you are not choosing that dream? Where in your life are you doing that? I know you have it. I know you can pinpoint in this moment the thing that I said I was going to do in 2020 when it was big time. Yes, 2020 is the big year for everybody. I said I was going to do something, and then the pandemic came, And because of the pandemic, I justified that I can't go after this thing. You didn't examine the different ways that it could possibly shift. You didn't examine the ways that you could do it inside the pandemic. You didn't examine the ways that you could plan for beyond the pandemic, right? You literally sat there arguing for your limitations and you use the pandemic as the crutch. I do it. I have crutches all around for things that I said that I was going to do that I still have not done, or things that I said I wanted that I did not put in effect until years later. Entrepreneurship is a huge example for me. And I use it all the time because I know that persons are looking at social media and they're seeing all these people that they feel just automatically woke up one day. I woke up like this. I woke up like a millionaire. I woke up successful. I woke up with 100 million followers. And they don't realize that each of those persons at some point in time had to make the choice that said, this is the direction I'm going in now, instead of not choosing and just kind of, hanging out with the what's so. So that's the first thing. One of the main pitfalls about not being accountable to yourself and not choosing that bravery for yourself is you're going to end up down another path that you may not have been intentional about. You end up down the default path instead of the deliberate path. So you really have to get to a place where you're going to embrace that self accountability. And when you shift into self accountability, yeah, it starts off, of course, with having a vision and having an intention. I realize that I have intentions around showing up for my community, and I have intentions around adding value to people's lives, but I had no intention around believing I can make money from it. Straight. No intention around that, because I had a fear that I was not deserving of that or worthy of that or not good enough. All different kind of stories. Okay? And until I shifted the intention to not just be about the impact, but to be about myself as the person delivering that impact. Until that happened, I am not seeing the fruit of the work that I'm putting in this space. So I want you to take a moment right now and think about where in your life you have this one thing. Where in your life do you have this one thing that's been recurring as a dream and you just can't seem to make the type of progress you're capable of making, because you see yourself being accountable to other people and making progress on their stuff, but not making progress on your stuff? Just take a moment right now and think about that. What in your life have you been putting on the back burner over and over again? And then all these different justifications are floating around in your mind for why it never happened. I'm going to sip some tea while you think about it. This is so good. Today I'm doing English breakfast with oat milk, carnation milk, that's evaporated milk. So I have oat milk, I have evaporated milk, honey, nutmeg, and cinnamon. Let me tell you, I'm officially a tea addict. It is what it is. I don't care. Okay. So now that you've taken that moment and you have that thing in mind, ask yourself, is this still a dream? Is this still something that I want? Is this still a part of my becoming? I did that work last year on my podcast and on stepping into my life as a full-time speaker and podcaster and writer. I did that last year and I recommitted. I said, yes, it's still my dream. Like, guys, I went back in journals from 2015. I was looking in journals from 2015 and I saw the exact same thing. And I'm sitting here looking at myself. Okay, coach, you out here coaching all these other people about getting to where they need to get to. And you have this dream that you've been literally tiptoeing around for however many years now. So when are you going to make the step for yourself? When are you going to start holding yourself accountable? Then the next thing that you do, once you decide, you ask yourself the question, is this still a dream? Is this still something I want? Is this a part of my becoming? Once you've done that now, then the next step is going to maybe surprise you a little bit. The next step is going to be looking at the other things that you have probably done in your life, whether for somebody else or for yourself. And you're going to now say, okay, if I can do that, then I can do this. What did I apply to that part of things that I can now apply to my life? This life's dream that I have. What can I do? What can I apply that I did for other people? Okay. Morning, Michelle. Morning, Mish. What did I apply to that side of myself, the side of me that is showing up at work? Because I think work is a great area. People are very easy in that space of being accountable. It makes sense. You justify it through the fact that you have needs. You have people that you have to provide for, including yourself. So you need that paycheck. So you're going to go to work. You're going to be accountable to your team members, to your boss, to your board, whoever it is, your investors. So you make that choice, right? Okay. Now, when you make that choice that you're going to be accountable to all these other people, what do you do with that? What happens when you wake up in the morning and you know that you have all these things to do that make you accountable to others' dreams? What happens inside? Is it that you get up and start doing your to-do list? Is it that you pick up your phone and start checking the emails? What is it? Is it you start looking for what is missing to getting to the goal? Look at how you went about creating the thing that you're accountable to other people for. And then start to jot down the things that were really good about yourself in those areas. What can you celebrate about yourself that you did when you were working with other people's things? One of the things that I did as an example, when I did this exercise for myself, I looked at all the ways that I made tech companies money, other people's companies that I supported in the tech space. How did I help those companies to make money? Oh my gosh, I would come up with the best ideas. I would literally sit down and I would have brainstorming sessions and I would come up with every single possible idea for events we could have, for ways that we could woo the market and the customers and our partners. I mean, I was just like at it, like writing down all the different things that I would do to help these tech companies, my bosses, my chairperson, all the different people to make money. I would be hiring specialists. I'd be, investing in this particular program, or I'd be going on training, right? I would be getting training for myself to help advance others. Okay. When I finished make that note now, I then sat down and I was like, okay, so what did I do that was like knock the ball out the park? And then I would sit down and I would write down all the successes I had. Oh my gosh. You see, when I finished doing that, I was so pumped up because I realized how much effort and work I put in and all the results that I got. And let me say the result then turn up. Like I remember this one event. I remember this one event that I did for a tech company. And this was a long time, right? Back in like 2012. Yeah, in like 2012. But I went back there because this tech company had products in multiple countries, multiple, I mean like India, Australia, like all over the world, Africa, everywhere. And I decided that for the new launch, I was going to create this global experience in Canada. So I was going to fly in all these people and we were going to go on this kind of experience adventure where we took them to different parts of Canada that created an experience like they were home, and then show them how this tech product was going to make their lives better, yada, yada, yada. And I did it. I flew in all these people from all over the place, all our different partners. And we had this huge event. And I mean, we rented like a castle and we did all this amazing stuff to launch the product. And it was a big hit. It cost a bit of money, but it paid off in the long run because everybody was bought into it. Now, why am I telling you this story? Because when I went back and I actually sat down and wrote down all the different things that I did to make that a reality, I started to celebrate myself. I don't know if you guys saw Niecy Nash's acceptance of her Emmy the other day. She got a Best Supporting Actress Emmy Award. And there was this whole thing that was going viral about her celebrating herself. Variety asked her a question after the show about her success and celebrating herself. And she said that, boy, if you don't celebrate yourself first, then who going to celebrate you? We oftentimes forget that we are at the center of everything that we create. And what it reminded me of was this exercise that I did last year when I was facing myself and realizing that I'm not holding myself accountable. And one of the reasons I wasn't holding myself accountable is because I would feel bad every time I looked at the fact that I have this dream from how long now, and I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything to move myself towards this dream that I have. And why does it keep coming back over and over again? Like it's almost like the dream just now leave me alone. It just there tapping me on my shoulder, right? I try to ignore it. I try to put my head down and focus on where I feel comfortable, and it's just not going anywhere. And so I realized that the reason why that kept happening is because I didn't feel like I had anything to celebrate in that space. I didn't feel like I could celebrate myself as the person having that dream because I hadn't made the traction that I wanted to make. But when I looked at the big things that I did for other people, I saw so many things that I could celebrate. So I said, okay, Stacey, since you're in this high energetic space now, having looked at all the wonderful things that you did for other people, and you can pat yourself on the back because you did this wonderful work for other people, let's look at your dream. Let's bring the dream back up now and start to think about what is the transformation that it would mean for you if you were to enable this thing that you want in your life. It could be anything, guys. It could be your health. It could be love. It could be the career. Maybe it is a dream job that you're going after. I don't know. But what is it that is on the other side? What do you want to be celebrating, knowing that you have held yourself accountable first when you are on the other side of that dream? And so I started to write these things down. I want to be able to celebrate being able to create massive wealth, or I want to be able to celebrate being able to create a love that feels warm and all encompassing and just delicious. I want to be able to celebrate a body that feels strong going up the stairs and coming down the stairs where I don't feel like, I'm out of breath because I climb up a couple steps of stairs. I know that I might look physically fit, but I want to be really fit. I want to be strong and healthy and whatever it is that your dream is. Think about what you want to celebrate on the other side of that. And then you can sit down and start to write how you're going to hold yourself accountable to the dream that you are bringing into life. Even something as simple as this, guys, I'll be honest with you, even sitting down with myself and having a conversation about talking to people about the dreams that they have. I had to have a conversation with myself about that because in my mind, I'm like, well, I don't want to talk about dreams. Like, I want to talk about something that feels more strategic or more serious. But at the end of the day, what it boils down to is that that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk to you all about how to create the transformation in your life so that you can live the dreams that you have. That's it. And I've been spending so much of my time walking around what I actually want to do that I have not held myself accountable to that dream. I haven't. And now that I'm holding myself accountable to that dream, I have to be courageous enough to have the conversations I want to have, to take the steps that I want to take, to do the things that don't feel comfortable, and to possibly fail while I'm at it. But here what happened now. After I do the self accountability piece, I recognize that the next thing I need, because I've written this down several times, I'm being honest, I've written this down several times, and I'm fumbling. I'm lacking discipline. So if I'm fumbling and lacking discipline, then clearly the self accountability is not enough. And that's a reality. Sometimes self accountability is not enough. And you guys out there who have these individual dreams, at some point, you have to recognize that writing it down, journaling, doing a vision board, all of them things, it not working. The self accountability is not working. You're getting up January morning every year and you reset and you reset. June, July, you reset. End of the year coming and you reset, and still it not happening. So what does that mean? The self accountability on its own is not working. So you need accountability partners. Accountability partners, coaches, or community. That's what I recommend. Coaches or community. I've hired coaches all along my journey for different things. This year, I'm hiring a coach, or I have hired, yes, spend the money. I've hired a coach to help me with this area of lacking self accountability, right? Because I know that there are things that I will do, and then there are points where I just get to it, and I just can't. It's like, no matter what I'm doing, I just can't move past that next step. I can't move past that next step. And so instead of looking on and saying to myself, I want this thing real bad, and I'm holding myself accountable, and then I start arguing for my limit, instead of doing that whole cycle over and over again, I'm going to put down an investment and I'm going to get a coach to support me. The second thing is community. They have a thing where, you'll have some teachers that say, don't share your dreams with anybody because you run the risk of not being able to achieve not being able to achieve the dream because other people's energy and them bad mind and all the different things that can interrupt your flow. What I would say to that is, I agree. And I still think you need community. You need community in the space of persons who can believe with you, can hold you and support you on your path. It doesn't have to be a large community. It could just be one particular person that you have in your tribe that you can tell is on a similar path as you. I think love partners can be great accountability partners if they hold you accountable for other things and encourage you positively. Then your love partner can really be a great accountability partner. Sometimes a group masterminds can be great for accountability. But what I'm saying, guys, is don't sit with the dream that you want and you see yourself every year. If it's 1 year, not so bad. But if you're rolling into year 3 of this thing still showing up and you have not made movements or you have not gotten to where you know you can get to, then it's time to pull in accountability partners because self accountability is not working. Okay? So, what I want you to really understand, accountability, both to yourself, right, through you first, and then through others, is a sure shot way of exercising fully exercising the transformation you need to get towards the dreams that you have. Because that's ultimately what it is. The dream is not going to land in your lap when you are still the person that can't think of yourself as having achieved this thing. It's not going to come. So you need to hold yourself accountable, and you need accountability partners to get you to believe that you can become the person that is going to achieve the dream, to get you to take the action that you need to become the person who is going to achieve the dream, and to also get you to celebrate on the other side of recognizing, yes, I've achieved this thing. So Starting today, Saturday, you have some time. I want y'all to sit down. I talked about taking a moment and looking back at the dream. Look at the thing that you have been putting on your list over and over again. First step. After you've looked at that, the next step is to now start to think about other things that you've done for other people that you have knocked it out and you just like kill it. Things that you've just done amazingly well at. So you have your dream, and then you have the things that you've done that you did amazingly well at. Now, I want you to really think about and celebrate the things that you did well. Like just really lean into that celebration because you need that energy to now place towards the dream that you have. Think about what you want to celebrate after you achieve the dream, what you want to feel good about when you're on the other side of the achievement. All right. And after you've done that work, okay, this is all dream work, guys, all dream work, all visualization, visioning, dream work. But you have to write it down. You have to see it in front of you. You're going to feel a little fire in your belly. That's what's going to happen. When you do that work, you're going to feel like, yes, I can do this thing. Okay. When you start to feel that energy now, you want to lean into that energy and start to think about, can I hold myself accountable for this? Or do I need to invest in accountability partners? And the investment part is so critical because them say nothing in life is free. I can categorically guarantee for you that if this is a recurring dream that not manifesting, that not coming to life, you need to make an investment towards that dream. And that investment is actually your self accountability. You are using that to support yourself. So write that down. I need to make sure that I can find support to get to my health goal, to get to my physical hotness goal, to get to my love goal, to get to my money goal. Write down the accountability support that you are going to need to make it happen. Okay? And then after you've done that, you can get up and leave it and then come Monday morning, you sleep, go to sleep, detach yourself, don't get stuck, don't start to figure it out, don't try to think about how you're going to afford the investment, don't try to think about how you're going to do nothing. Just enjoy the experience of getting back in touch with the thing that you want and identifying the accountability that you're going to use. When you've done that, leave it. And then come Monday morning, you write down the first step that you're going to take towards the thing that you want to do. Now, if you're watching the replay of this video, just give yourself a couple days. Let it simmer. Don't try to figure out anyhow. And then early in the morning before you get into your day, just pull up back your sheet that you've been using to write down and then say, what is the first step I'm going to take? So here's to being accountable, guys. I hope you have a wonderful Saturday. Thank you for joining Tea Time. I hope you brought your coffee or your tea or whatever, and that you got some life. Breathe back into that dream that you have for yourself. Know that you have everything within you to transform your life and create the life that you want. Thanks for joining, guys. And until next time, this is Stacy, your balanced lady boss, signing out. Take care, everybody. Bye.